What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Quicksilver, so let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Quicksilver, so let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the packaging, of course we're on a retro card here, but this retro card, it looks empty. It looks empty, and really all it's missing is a certain set of hands, right? Accessories, sure, they could maybe figure out some sort of speed showing accessory, but I'm not super concerned about that. What I am concerned about is a specific set of hands that are clearly missing from this pack. But retro card looks nice. Quicksilver down there. We don't get a little blurb or anything. Marvel up top. Flip it to the back. We've got all this information going on back here. So you've got a nice image there. The Avengers logo again, along with his twin sister, the Scarlet Witch, the Speedster, Quicksilver, join the Avengers after leaving Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. There you go. Important information at the bottom. Let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the package, this is a character or a version of this character that I've been waiting for some time. Of course, I've got the Family Matters 3-pack version in the blue suit, and that looks great on the display, but there was an obvious hole in parts of the display needing the green suit Quicksilver. So here we have it. I like that we have it. The 3-pack version may be a little bit more expensive on the aftermarket for those looking to add Quicksilver to their display. So getting another shot at it and also adding a variant of the character, huge draw for me, huge draw for a lot of collectors, whether you want both sets or you just want representation of the character in your display. What is a little bit disappointing about this, though, is we do get 2 sets of hands. So I'm not even addressing the idea that there may be a lack of hands in here. I think 2 sets is perfectly fine. Sometimes you don't need more than 1 set, right? But to not have flare hands included in this is a questionable decision, right? In the images, you're seeing him with his hands flared out. In most displays, people will want him in a running pose, which would necessitate the flared out hands. Now, if you don't have a set, you can get a set of flared out hands from the Zero figure. That did come with a set of flared hands that will match this figure, but again, just a weird call. But that aside, it does do exactly what I needed to do other than that. So let's take a closer look, see what we've got going on. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at the face sculpt here. Now, it only came with 1 head sculpt. I think this is perfectly fine. It's a fairly neutral expression, but with a little bit of flair to it, right? So not totally neutral, but not super expressive either. So a fair middle ground. But again, 2 head sculpts, 1 expressive, 1 neutral would be my preferred in every figure, but I do live in the real world, so I understand. But there you go. So great looking face sculpt nonetheless. I like that you've got the hair design in there. We didn't get that on the Family Matters version, so it does allow for another bit of difference from the previous version. I get that the Sunfire buck with the shoulders isn't preferred for a lot of people. It does give a fairly unnatural aesthetic. I personally don't mind it all that much. I think it's a good body for like a slightly smaller statured male figure buck, but I get it. It does give that sort of weird area in the shoulder trap area that does come off a little bit weird, but it looks fine on the shelf. You can see on mine, I've obviously got a good amount of green coming through on the neck because it is painted as opposed to being a skin tone plastic in the neck area. So I don't love that. It does certainly stand out. Would like to see that a little bit cleaner there. Let's take a look at some articulation. The head will look down to about there, chin almost touching the chest, head up to there, so you get some pretty good range upward. You get a little bit of rock, but you certainly get some good movement around. Of course, you got the butterfly joint that you're accustomed to on this buck. The arm does move all the way around, up and out to about there, so not a whole lot of upward motion there. Upper bicep cut and double jointed pinless at the elbow. This buck does give you the ab crunch. You get the click there and you have your hip swivel. So I certainly understand that some people would like to see that updated, but frankly, it doesn't bother me that much because you do get the 2 points in the torso as opposed to being something more limited. The leg will kick up to there, back to there, and then up and out to about there. So a little limited. You've got your upper thigh cut there, and you are double jointed pinless at the knee. Boot cut, and then your hinge and swivel at the ankle, your hinges at the wrist. Your hands that are included are your open set of hands and your fists. And if you have 0 laying around, if you bought that pack and you're not using the flared out hands, you can use those. They make for a nice fit on this figure. For comparison, here he is backed up against the Family Matters 3-pack Quicksilver in the blue suit. Obviously, they are on the same buck, so they are going to be the same height. The hair makes a little bit of difference, so you can see that there. While I do wish that they used the pearlescent paint on this new one, I don't think the white, flat white really takes away from it. I'm just a sucker for that pearlescent paint. I don't know, it looks good. It's shiny, right? So that kind of adds a little bit of draw. But again, I don't think it takes away from the aesthetic of the new one. And then here he is backed up against his twin sister, Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. You can see how he might display with, depending on which one you have. This was the one closest to me, so this is what we're going with. But I kind of like this one from an aesthetic point. Just gives a nice vibe. They mix well together. And just for another point of reference, here he is backed up against your deluxe Black Widow. Gives you an idea of how this Quicksilver might mix amongst some of your female figures in the display. And finally, here he is backed up against Commander Rogers, just to show you how he might display against some of your bulkier male figures. Not the big ones, but the slightly bulkier builds. Here are your head swaps. So this is what the Family Matters head looks like on the new buck. Certainly works if that's something that you're looking to do. And conversely, here is the new head on your Family Matters buck. I think that looks pretty good, though. I might go with that. I don't know. I got to figure out how I'm going to do these, but I think that looks pretty good. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Walmart exclusive retro carded Quicksilver. A nice addition because we are getting the green suit version. All around a pretty decent figure. A couple of things that I would have liked to have seen differently. Of course, I would have liked to have had flared out hands. I think everybody who's going to make any complaint about this figure, that's the one thing they're going to point out. It's just an obvious thing that's left out of this package. Otherwise, it is a decent looking figure and I'm happy to have it. I do get that green coming through the neck there, so that could just be my figure and not a thing that's consistent with others. So that is going to be choose your own adventure, right? To each your own on that, whether you got a good one or a bad one, I don't know. Head sculpts, I like the one we got. Of course, I always would like to see 2 head sculpts, but as I said earlier, I do live in reality, so I understand that that's not always going to be the case. It's just one of those would have been nice. However, the face sculpt that we got is a nice looking face sculpt, so with that, I like the choice we got. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty basic looking offering when you just look at the package, but the retro cards look nice, and it is a representation of a character, or a version of a character that I have been waiting to get. So I'm happy now that I've got my blue suit and I've got my green suit Quicksilver. The hand thing works out for me because I have the 0 and he wasn't using the flared hands. Not everybody's going to have that, but I'm pretty sure you can get that 0 figure for relatively cheap. And then look, not only do you get the flared hands, but you add an X-Men villain in the process. So do what you want with that. That's the 2 cents, folks. I hope you appreciate that. I hope you got something out of this video. I appreciate you for checking out the video and staying this long if you have. I know it was a couple days late on this one, but I was out at New York Comic Con and I just got back. So now I'm doing a little catching up. So please check out all the New York Comic Con content that I have out there. There's some on the channel, some on the Instagram. So check that out and go from there. Again, you can find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.